Welcome to this TubeDuel original podcast explainer. Today, we're diving straight into one of the wildest, most dramatic roller coaster rides in tech history. We are talking about BlackBerry. I mean, think about it. There was a time when literally everyone had one of these things glued to their hands, right? And then, poof, they just vanished from the consumer market. But here is the crazy secret we're unpacking today. They didn't actually die. They've been secretly surviving and thriving in a completely different way. It's a story of a meteoric rise, a catastrophic fall, and a totally unexpected rebirth.
So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. First up, the business essentials era. Then, the BBM revolution. After that, we hit the touchscreen disruption, followed by exactly why BlackBerry failed. And finally, their massive software reinvention. Let's get right to it.
Part 1. The business essential. The rise of a mobile giant.
Way back before the iPhone was even a rumor, a Canadian company called Research in Motion, or RIM, basically rewired how professionals did their jobs. They were founded in 1984, but things really kicked off in 1999 with the BlackBerry 850 pager. This was an absolute game changer. Why? Because it put secure email right in your pocket for the very first time. Suddenly, you weren't chained to your desk anymore. By 2000, they rolled out their first true smartphone, and then in 2005, they dropped BBM. They exploded from a scrappy startup into a massive global powerhouse, all because they made business communication fast, reliable, and super secure.
To really grasp how huge they were, look at the scale in 2011. They hit an absolute peak with 80 million users worldwide. 80 million. In the US alone, they gobbled up 43% of the entire smartphone market. It was the ultimate status symbol. If you were a big deal, you had a BlackBerry. Wall Street bankers, top CEOs, world leaders, they literally ran their daily operations on these little keyboards.
Moving on to Part 2. The BBM revolution. Changing how we text.
Now, this is where things get really interesting, because BlackBerry stopped being just for the business suits. It became an absolute cultural phenomenon. BBM, or BlackBerry Messenger, meant free texting over your data plan, no more crazy SMS fees. But the real kicker came in 2005 when they invented something we all love to hate today: read receipts. D meant delivered and R meant read. It was genius tech, but man, it created a whole new kind of social anxiety. Nobody wanted to be left on read, right? And because BBM only worked between BlackBerries, it created this massive network effect. If all your friends got one, you absolutely had to get one too.
So they completely dominated the business world, and they owned the social culture. Which begs the million-dollar question: what went wrong? How does a giant this untouchable collapse so spectacularly? Well, let's break it down.
Part 3. The touchscreen disruption, when the market shifted.
Right around 2007 and 2008, the market experienced a massive seismic shock. Completely new competitors stepped onto the scene and totally redefined what a phone actually was. On one side of the ring, you had BlackBerry. They stubbornly dug their heels in, focusing on those enterprise clients, sticking to physical keyboards, and keeping their software system locked down tight. But on the other side, you had Apple and Android going straight for the everyday consumer. They brought out these huge touch screens perfect for video and web browsing, and they built wide-open, super easy-to-use app stores. The whole world was rushing toward entertainment and apps, and BlackBerry, well, they just weren't.
Which brings us to Part 4. Why BlackBerry failed, a strategic breakdown.
Let's look at the actual business strategy here to understand why their top executives made such fatal mistakes. It boils down to a concept called strategic inertia. It's an absolutely crucial idea to grasp. Basically, it means you fall so deeply in love with your past success that you completely stop trying new things. And BlackBerry's leadership, they had a massive case of strategic inertia. Their physical keyboards and secure networks had literally made them billionaires, so they were convinced that was the only path forward. Get this, they actually dismissed the early iPhone as just a passing trend with terrible battery life. They were simply overconfident and completely refused to adapt to what real people actually wanted to buy.
You can clearly map out this whole collapse using a classic framework called Porter's 5 Forces. It shows perfectly how BlackBerry got totally surrounded. First up, you've got intense new rivalry. Think Apple, Google, Samsung, just innovating at warp speed. Then, you've got this huge threat of substitutes. Touchscreen smartphones were offering a completely different, app-heavy experience. These incredible new market forces just slowly squeezed the life out of BlackBerry's market share, entirely because they just couldn't or wouldn't respond fast enough to the changing tide.
This analysis really hits the nail on the head. They delayed touchscreen innovation and failed to realize how much consumer preference was changing.
That right there is a brutal but essential lesson for any modern tech company. Seriously, if you ignore what your consumers want, you are going to lose them. It literally doesn't matter how rich or dominant you are right now, when the consumer moves to a new way of doing things, you have to move with them. We're your history.
But hey, here comes the plot twist. Part 5, the software reinvention, the silent survivor.
Most people assume BlackBerry just went bankrupt and faded into the history books. But they didn't. Back in 2016, they just made the call to stop making phone hardware altogether. Instead, they executed this incredibly profitable pivot to become a purely software-based company. Today, their entire focus on global digital security and the Internet of Things. They're out there using advanced AI to hunt down digital threats for massive corporations and governments. And the real crown jewel? They developed a vital product called the QNX Automotive Operating System.
Get ready for a number that's going to blow your mind. 255 million. As we speak, BlackBerry's ultra-secure QNX software is actively running inside more than 255 million cars out on the road. Automakers trust them implicitly because of their legendary history with high security. So, think about it. Your own car has safety features and digital dash. There's a really good chance it's running BlackBerry software right now and you didn't even know it. They didn't die. They just became this invisible, essential part of our daily lives. And if you want proof that this pivot actually worked, just look at their projected revenue for fiscal year 2025. They are expecting to pull in $270 million just from the Internet of Things and that QNX car software. Add to that another $580 million from cybersecurity and licensing. You do the math, that is a projected $850 million in total revenue. It's solid proof that they are a thriving, highly successful modern software business today. They just do all the heavy lifting behind the scenes now, securing the digital world. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final question to really chew on. Are you holding on to your own physical keyboard? Whether it's in your personal life or your own business, resisting change can be incredibly dangerous. We have to take a page from BlackBerry's history book here. Don't let your past success blind you to the future. Stay flexible and don't ever be afraid to pivot when the world shifts. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer on the TubeDuel Original Podcast, and as always, keep learning.